going to read a story today called Perry and the Four Friends, which is based on the book of Mark, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. The word was out. Jesus was back in town. He had been teaching and healing in nearby villages, but now he was in Capernaum, in a house, right this very minute. People were gathering fast. Matthew, Marcia, Luke, and Joe were working in the field when they heard the news from Thomas, a shepherd boy. Each of them had the same idea. Maybe this time it would happen. They dropped their spades and hoes, and they dashed to the house where Perry lay on his mat. Perry had been a friend of theirs since they were toddlers. When they were kids, he was the one who could run fast, jump the farthest, and climb the highest. But when he was 12, he had a terrible accident, and he'd never been able to walk since then. He could move his hands, though, and he'd become a very good rope maker. And he kept his friends entertained with stories he made up during the day. The friends dashed into the house. "Let's go," shouted Joe. "Jesus is in town, and he's healing people now. Put down that rope, Perry, and everybody grab a corner of the mat. Hurry!" All the friends remembered the last time that they tried to take Perry to Jesus. They'd gotten there late, and Jesus was already gone. So now they rushed. The four friends lifted Perry and began the long walk to Capernaum. They stopped for a quick water break, but Joan kept them moving, even though their arms were sore and their backs were aching. But Perry told them funny stories along the way, and he really didn't seem like a burden at all. Finally, they reached the town and saw a crowd at the door of a little house. "Uh-oh," said Matthew. "I've never seen so many people," said Marcia. "We'll never get in," said Luke. "Come on," said Joe. When they approached the house, they couldn't get near the door. A tall man looked at them and said, "No room for you." "Please," said Matthew. "Our friend really needs to see Jesus." "No," the man growled. Perry was sad. Matthew was angry. Marcia felt a sinking defeat. Luke gazed upward as if in prayer. Joan followed his gaze. "The roof!" yelled Luke. They slipped around the house and started up the outside stairs. It was tricky to climb the steep, narrow staircase and keep Perry laying flat. But they worked as a team and, panting, soon put Perry down on the roof. Then they looked at each other. No! There was nothing up there but hard mud roof and a pile of old tools. "Should we not?" asked Matthew. "With those shovels over there?" asked Marcia. "You mean bust open the roof?" asked Luke. "Jesus is right under our feet," said Joe. So they grabbed the shovels and started hacking and digging up the roof. Soon it cracked, then it crumbled, and then a huge piece opened up, and they lifted it off. They looked down. Many faces looked up. One of them was Jesus. "What's this?" asked Jesus. Perry grinned. "Can we just tip him in?" asked Matthew. "Or lower him on shovels?" asked Marcia. "Wish we had a rope," said Luke, looking around hopefully at Perry. Matthew shouted, "Belts!" "Listen to Matthew," Perry agreed. "Lower me down with your belts." So they unwrapped their long belts, tied them to the mat, and lowered their friend right to the feet of Jesus. "Wow," said Jesus, "you have amazing friends. They have so much faith." "Yes," said Perry, "they really, really want me to be healed. And so do I. We trust you can heal me." Jesus looked at Perry with wise, bright eyes. He said quietly, "Your sins are forgiven." And then he looked at the friends and to Perry and said aloud, "Stand up, roll up your mat, and walk." Perry blinked. He felt the strength rushing back into his feet and up through his legs and into his body. And then he did as Jesus said. He stood up. He rolled up his mat, and he turned toward the door. The crowd parted to make way. Perry turned back to Jesus. Thank you, he cried, smiling. And then he walked. Outside, the friends scrambled down the stairs, rushed to the front door, and as Perry walked out of the house, they grabbed him in a big hug. They jumped, they danced, they skipped, and hopped. When they finally caught their breath, Matthew said, "Let's go show your parents," Martha added. "And the whole family, and the animals," said Luke. "And then we can run to the river and swim," said Joan. Perry said, "First, we're going up to repair the roof." And so they did.
Thank you, Sue. Well, friends, this morning, like Pastor Kate said, things are a little different. By the way, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason. I'm one of the pastors here at People's Church. And on our family worship Sundays, it feels a little bit more chaotic, doesn't it? That feels good. There's a lot of energy in this room. And what we hope to do is a lot of times our kids don't get to experience what worship is because they're in Sunday school. And so this is their opportunity to experience different elements of worship. And we as adults, we don't get to experience Sunday school as the kids do at all. So we're blending those together. And on our last Sunday of our sermon series on Pixar. And today we're talking about friendship. And we just heard a story about a guy named Perry. You didn't know there was a guy named Perry in the Bible, did you? The guy named Perry, whose friends loved him and cared for him so much that they dug up a roof and lowered him in with their belts to see Jesus to be healed. And this reminds me of a Bible verse that you actually heard in our call to worship today. That is going to be our focus Bible verse for today. Kyle, can you bring it up? This is from Proverbs 17. It's friends love all the time. Can you repeat that with me? Friends love all the time. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And you know, there's another story about friendship that you might have seen. It's in Toy Story 2. How many of you have seen Toy Story 2? Oh, lots of you. Well, for those of you who have not seen Toy Story 2, in Toy Story, the toys come to life when there's no people around, and they have all of their interactions. And there's this doll, is it a doll? Action figure? I don't know. Named Woody. And Woody is a cowboy sheriff, and he's played by Tom Hanks. And he is Andy's, the kid in the family, one of his favorite toys. And he is actually accidentally put out at a rummage sale. And when they try and take him back, one of the people who was at that rummage sale steals Woody. And he wants to put Woody into a vintage collection and sell him, fix him up and sell him as a part of the Cowboy Roundup collection to be put out in a museum. And as the story goes on, Woody is told that eventually his little boy, Andy, is going to grow up and forget about him. So the other toys who are going to be put into this collection are trying to convince Andy, to convince Woody to give up on Andy and to stay with them in the collection. And then Andy's other toys are coming to rescue Woody. And they all get there, and now Woody has to decide what he's going to do. Let's take a peek at the clip.
Watch kids from behind glass and never be loved again? Some life. Good going, Woody. I thought they'd never leave.
You got a friend in me.
Woody.
You got trouble. Well, I've got it too. There isn't anything. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, maybe. But none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy. And as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see.
Wait! Come! You're right, Prospector. I can't stop Andy from growing up. But I wouldn't miss it for the world. No!
So what would we decide to do? Run away, go back to Andy, go back home, because even though Andy would grow up at some time, he wanted to be with him through that, because what does our verse say? You want to throw that up again? Friends love all the time. And we remember that friends love all of the time because God loves us all of the time. And to help us remember that friends love all of the time, Pastor Kate has a little activity to lead us